And I did live in the Middle East for a while and just absorbed a lot of the tensions that were there. And that was 35 years ago during the first Intifada. And it's just got worse since then. But so I think I'm aware of the different sensitivities. And when I was there, I found I kept my ears open, and everybody I talked to had a subtly different story. And the stories weren't all compatible with one another, but they were all definitely what that person and their family really believed about the situation. And I just realized that this is far too complex for somebody marching in from England and saying, okay, you're wrong about this, you're right about that, now sort it out. It goes way, way back, a long way back. And I grew up knowing the story of, well, I remember the movie Exodus, which was about Jewish refugees from Europe who'd somehow escaped the Holocaust and having to get a boat and run the gauntlet of people, not least the British soldiers, who were trying to stop them getting into Palestine, and how all that worked. And all my sympathies, as I'm sure all my generation, were entirely with the Jewish refugees after the Holocaust, etc., etc. It was only when I lived in Jerusalem, and my next-door neighbor was a Palestinian archdeacon at St. George's Cathedral in Jerusalem. And he was a delightful guy, is a delightful guy. And he sat me down and explained a few things about what had happened to him in 1948, 1949, and his family, etc., etc. You realize, oh my goodness, there are many, many different sides to this story. And it behoves us, particularly us British, the Balfour Declaration and all that, to back off from hasty judgments. Having said all that, the imperative to peace must be a priority. And we must support all those who are trying by whatever means they can to make peace. And as I say, that involves several different layers of conflict resolution, as well as involving America and Iran, for instance, because Iran clearly is behind some of what's going on at the moment, at least if not quite a lot of it. But also it involves us as Christians in thinking through how distortions of Christianity have hindered the process of peace, particularly people who say, as many in America are doing, that the Holy Land always was the Jews' homeland and it should now be the Jews' homeland. And so we've got to support the settler movement, and just, if that means ridding the country of Palestinians, so be it. And I want to say, no, this is a fundamental misreading of the Bible. The whole world is now God's holy land. That's the vision of Paul in Romans chapter 8. It's the vision of Jesus when he says, all authority in heaven and earth is given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. The whole world now belongs to God. Well, the promises about the land are not abandoned. They're extended to cover the whole creation. So anything which says, oh, this little strip of turf inalienably belongs here or there, no, we can't. And I think if people had realized this and preached it for many years, then things would have been very different by now. So having said all of that, what do we say to the protesters? I just cycled past them on our way back from Wycliffe this morning, an encampment outside the Pitt Rivers Museum in the middle of Oxford. And I think we say it's absolutely right that people should be able to express themselves. The danger is that the thing lurches from one extreme to another. And the extremes at this point are not a good place to be, because if somebody is chanting pro-Palestinian slogans and implying that the Palestinians should possess the whole land, as the famous quote is, from the river to the sea, what then are you saying about the Jewish people who have come there over the last 2 generations? Likewise, if the settlers are saying, we own the whole land now, or we're just going to get rid of the Palestinians, same problem, guys. And this is not the way to peace there, and it's not the way to peace for the rest of the world. The danger with protests is that they become shrill and shallow, and then the sloganeering is too easy, and people grasp onto this or that. And of course, it's now bundled up in America, particularly with left-right politics, as Joe Biden is finding to his cost, because, the question of if you're a right-wing American, you may well be a supporter of Israel, but then what about the left-wing Americans who might be expected to vote Democrat or for Biden? Because a lot of them don't want to see Israel wiped off the map either. So there are huge issues going on there. And again, it means that people have got to think wisely and speak clearly and do so in a layered fashion. There is this, there is also that, and this integrates with these things, etc., and not in this head-to-head bull meets bull confrontation. That's just going to make matters worse.
I think it's when those protests do